Sometimes when all alone, I get this feeling.
Traj, what's good, baby?
What's good? I'm chilling, man. Gracious.
How you been?
Great, man. Blessed. I can't really complain.
Well, the name of this podcast is Preserving the Culture.
Aye.
So, I brought you out here. I figured, let me start digging into the history.
That's what's up. I got a lot of experience, you know what I mean? A lot of years.
You've been around.
For a minute.
So I've been asking a lot about park jams and like all of that kind of stuff. Who's the first person you remember bringing their set out to a park jam?
The first person I remember had to be the Disco Twins. And it's funny because I just ran into them at the Kew Gardens festival thing they had. DMC was there performing, doing a lot of Run DMC joints. Hurricane was there. Cool T, that's my bro, Cool T. Havoc, EPMD, it was dope. The mayor came and all that. But the first ones that I remember was the Disco Twins bringing their set out. You know what I mean? And like how they set it up, how they had like an intricate system, how they built their own speakers. You know, because back then we didn't have all this technology, or at least we didn't have access to a lot of technology. So dudes would build their own speakers, you know what I mean? And put their whole system together and make their own makeshift PA system, you know, and basically cover everything, you know what I'm saying? You hear blocks down, you know what I mean?
Where they used to do this, like in Queensbridge Park or something? Or?
Yeah, they was in Queensbridge Park, River Park. That's like right across the street from my building.
Most of the time we were performing in Queensbridge Project, or that's over here in the Ravenswood and the store near the bridge. We used to go outside and battle some of the DJs that bring their set out. And people used to come down from all over to see what we were doing because we had a very good system, which was a Rich and Long system.
You hear them setting up and doing their sound checks and all that. And as soon as they start setting up, letting a little sound out or whatever, that's when the people would start coming because they knew it was gonna go down. So that was a good time, you know?
Who else, like, with the DJ? It was just Disco Twins, and who else? Like, were Disco Twins like the innovators of the park jam, or?
Nah. I mean, that goes back to like
in Queensbridge we're talking about.
I mean, to say they were the innovators, no, they were one of the first few to come out and bring their set out that I remember. Okay. And remember, dudes been coming out bringing their sets out
for a long time.
Before I even opened my eyes. So, but primarily it started in the Bronx. And those were like the pioneers who first, brung their systems out and all that, as far as, the history go. But, the Queens caught on, the Desert caught on. We was coming out, Disco Twins, like I said, the All Brothers. And then you had Jack, you know what I'm saying? You had Jack, you had different dudes coming out there, man. You had Marley, you had Hot Day, you had Jay Supreme. You know what I'm saying? And ironically, me and Jay Supreme is working on, we actually finished it, an album that's kind of talking about all of this stuff. And it's called Essential Elements. And happens to be, you talking about essential elements to building the culture up to where it got from there to now. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Tell me about the first time you went to Marley crib to record.
Oh man, the first time I went to Marley crib to record was probably a million times before I actually got to record. You know what I'm saying? I used to go to Marley's crib, somebody say, yo, shorty, you trying to get on? I'm like, yeah. They like, yo, Marley live right there. I'm like, word? So I go knock on his door, and I think I went to his crib probably every day for like maybe 4 to 6 months before he actually said, come in, and heard me. And when he did it, it was so unexpected, because I was like, yeah, all right, come back. And he was like, nah, come in, shorty. So I came in, he was like, let me hear something. And I was always ready, so I just went in. And he was like, yo, go to the mic or whatever, straight from there. And I was inducted in the Juice Crew. So the first time I went, like I said, I went like a million times before he actually heard me. But I was ready.
Did you ever meet Mr. Magic?
So good evening to your super listeners. How you doing tonight, all you fly guys and fly girls? Welcome once again to the world famous Mr. Magic, Rapper Jack, and of course I am Sir Juice.
Oh yeah, rest in peace. That's my big bro, man. course I met Mr. Magic. I mean, like, you gotta understand, like, I was like one of the youngest in the crew, so.
How old were you when you got into
like
Juice Crew?
13 going on 14. And I just be standing around, like I love to be around them and just soak the game up. I be trying to tell my sons now, like they always got something to say. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, when I was around certain dudes, I had nothing to say. Because I'm around dudes who got to where I want to go. So my thing is, yo, just shut up and listen. So like, that's what I did a lot. And Magic always was giving up game. Like if you was around Magic just for him, just a conversation, if you was receptive, and I'm very receptive. And I was probably even more receptive when I was younger. Like they say, to be aware is to be alive, you know what I'm saying? So I just paid attention to everything. And just being around Magic, you know, you got to soak up a lot of game, you know what I'm saying? If you was willing to do the dishes, you got a lot of food for thought, you know what I mean?
They said that you helped bring Mobb Deep and Nas, Nori, and Capone Noriega, we know about that. How did you help usher, you know, Mobb Deep into the game?
I think it was more so the timing, where I came in the timeline, you know? Like, I came under Shannon them. And Shannon them, this is a time where the streets dictated hip-hop. And hip-hop didn't necessarily dictate the streets like now. So I came at a time where, you know, Shan was not on the decline, but he was already a OG, already a veteran. And so, like, I believe when I came, I was more or less the link to the music direct to the streets. So, you know, when I met Hav, you know, Hav just stepped to me like, yo, I want to battle you, he's mad little. And I was like, I just came home from doing a bid, and I was like, nah, shorty, we ain't gonna battle, we gonna be down with each other. And I said, every time I see you, you better have something, you better have a fresh banger for me every day. And he was like, yo, like, I was just joking. I was like, nah, but I take this shit very serious. I take this is my life. So he was like, all right. And every time I saw him, he would have something, but if it wasn't up to my standard, I hit him up a little bit, I touch him up, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's how that was, you know what I mean? And as far as Nas, you gotta understand, like, when you come before somebody, of course they're gonna analyze your movement and watch how you're doing it and watch your course of direction, and they're gonna take your strengths and add them to theirs and try their best to eradicate, you know, to not pick up your weaknesses, so to speak. So that's how that was, you know what I mean? And the same way I came up under G-Rap and Kane and did the same thing, you know what I mean? So that's basically how that went. I mean, Havoc was more so a direct of me liaisoning him into the game. Nas wasn't as direct, but Nas did have the benefit of seeing where I planted my feet, you know what I'm saying? The same way I saw where G planted his feet, Kane, Rakim, LL, etc. You know what I mean? It's all an alley-oop for all of us.
Tell me about the new album you got out right now. What is it called?
It's called Hidden Fouls. And it's basically kind of like, you know, in the same vein as how Nas did a Lost Tapes. There was joints I had in the vault. And, you know, being in this industry and this business now and getting to where I'm at in the stage of my career, I realized that nothing is a waste. I have dudes from Germany that's like, yo, you got any unreleased material? We want to do a situation. So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna sit on no product. I'm gonna put it out. And I mean, I got great love off of it right now. And I actually put out a physical limited edition where I sign copies. I pull up on people if they in the NYC area, bring it to them and all of that. And I wanted to do that because with this album, I had to learn. I had to get a excuse me. I had to get a quick education on the streaming game. You know, 1 million streams is like $7,000, which is backwards math for me. So I was like, yo, you know what? My core fans understand that this is organic music, and I'm gonna do this limited edition and fill out and see how it works. For the most part, I'm selling, shit is selling like crazy. Way more than I expected, so.
I ain't gotta fight for the crown of old boy, I was never a boy, nigga, I wrong. Take the spice out, lower that tone. New York Emperor, never getting overthrown.
You know, Hidden Fouls is definitely a great project, something I'm solely behind, standing behind it and standing with it.
Where
and that's
can
the
they get?
joint.
Where can they get it? How can they get in contact with you?
They can hit me directly on the IG. I'm doing it myself because what I did was I went through a company, Boom Bap Nation, and I ain't shitting on them or nothing. It's just good people. They have a great following, but I started getting a lot of bad feedback from my consumers. They weren't getting the product on time. So I say, yo, you know what? I can't afford in this climate right now and what I want to propel out there in terms of bringing physicals back. I want to bring physical sales back, and I believe I can do it. So I had to, you know, kind of like step away from Boom Bap Nation and do it myself. It's a little hectic, running back and forth to the post office and all that, but it's well worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's the grind.
Tell me more about the Juice Crew. What was it like being the youngest? Like,
It was like a dream come true at first. And, you know, at that age and the stage of my life, I just felt like, yo, if I made a record, I made it. Like most of us did. You know, unaware of the business aspect, unaware of the moving parts and the dynamics of this business. You know, and after a while, the reality kicked in like, yo, man, you're not eating. You banging out these records, but you ain't getting no paper. And when you go back to the crib, your sisters is still hungry, shit is still fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I'm young and I'm like 14, 15. So I'm like, yo, man, I gotta survive out here. You know, and for me, life was a little different because I'm the oldest of 5 children. So like, my mom's basically was like, yo, you gotta get out there and make something happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, no pops, no none of that. Not a sad story, just my story, you know what I mean? So it was a little different after I got over the high and the elation of being part of the Juice Crew and was like, yo, I gotta make money. Unfortunately, what happened is I caught a case. And you know, I got sent on a little vacation. So while I went away, that's when they got the deal. That's what I tell the youngest today all the time. Yo, if you can't hold on, hang on. Don't give up, because the minute you give up or stray away from that course of direction, you'll be sick like me. I'm in fucking I Block in Elmira, cell 33, 4 gallery, and my man like, yo, shorty, yo, trash, what up? Down the tier, and I'm like, yo, what up? And they're like, yo, I thought you was part of the Juice Crew, son. Why you ain't on here? So I'm like, what? Because when I left, Juice Crew ain't come out with an album yet. So the dude was like, yo, I got the album right here. I'm like, get the fuck out and send that down. So he threw it on the kite, sent it down to me, alley-ooped it, snatched it up. I'm like, oh shit, everybody on the cover in front of the private jet. You know what I'm saying? Slick Rick, you know, paid him full rope down. And I'm like, damn, yo. And that shit hit me because I always felt like, yo, if I got on that symphony record, I would have murdered that shit. Straight like that, like no gas, no cap. I would have murdered that. Like I lived for that moment. I lived for that moment.
so you ain't never get a verse on it, on some, let me sneak a verse onto the beat?
Nah, man. Like I was anointed for that shit and I missed it, but it taught me a hard lesson. Best lesson is a paid lesson. You know what I'm saying? It taught me a hard lesson. Like, a major part of success is just showing up. A major part of success is just showing up. For instance, like, we probably would have never heard Rakim if Freddie Fox didn't show up for his session. Freddie Fox had the session with Marley and Eric B, but he didn't show up, and Rakim came. Look what happened. Showing up is a major part of success. How they say 55% of communication is body language. Showing up is 80% of success. That's a fact.